fucking shit. Why? I know for a fact I was not muted when the stream started, and this is fucking ridiculous. I hit the fucking button before the stream started. Anyway, I was going off. Jaren Jackson pissed me off. You could probably tell by my face, even if you couldn't hear the sound. Jaren Jackson killed me yesterday. Tyrese Maxey killed me. 4th slate in the last week for me that basically I have had money go to players that got injured on the slate, didn't end up playing in Kristaps Porzingis' case last week as well. So here we go. Look, guys, it's one of those days. Really, the NBA took it out of me. It was really the sum up, my opening monologue here that was muted. It's so fucking annoying, though, like, because I checked this thing now. You can see here. I'll go. You see this blue thing? Basically, if it's blue, that means the audio's going. So I checked it before the show, and it was blue. So I don't know how it possibly turned red again. But look, if Jaren Jackson can't play basketball, I guess my microphone can also take a day off. That's how it goes. Thank you, guys. I appreciate you going through it. Whenever I see there's like 12 chats, I know I've done something wrong at the beginning of the video, but here it is. Unbelievable. Anyway, top projected players. You saw the tweet. Hopefully you read it for yourself. Giannis Antetokounmpo, top projected player right now, getting a little bit of a boost because of the usual no Bobby Portis, no Chris Middleton. Also, Kyle Kuzma, questionable in this one. So if Kuzma's out, it'll look even better for Giannis. Giannis going to be owned by 30% of the field, it looks like, according to Stokastic data. In the sim I ran before the show, I'm getting 2x the value here. Yes, I was talking with a lot of passion with no audio. It's guys, the NBA is breaking me. Like the NBA and the fact that Underdog is just not getting back to me on the deal that I want to make for the NFL channel right now. It's really sending me. So I need a good day of NBA today. Like obviously last week, injuries are out of our control. But my God, man, it's taking it out of me. And when the microphone doesn't work too, really starts to question everything. Your sanity degrades in front of your eyes. Giannis, though, your chalk player of the day, your top pay-up option on the slate. Obviously, like we see in every given slate. Yesterday, another example be Jonas Valanciunas was still a good play, putting up 33 fantasy points, though. The Kings smoked the Mavs on that one. Kyrie Irving torn ACL is the update on that one. So the Mavs just fully boned now. Point being is like yesterday, Jonas Valanciunas super chalk at the same price tag. You had Andre Drummond having a really big day. He's one you ended up needing to win tournaments. Yesterday as well, some of the pay-up money was going towards guys like Cade Cunningham. He was pretty chalky. SGA, $500 more not being played. For Giannis, today he's that player where he's your Jonas Valanciunas. He's your Cade Cunningham. He's going to pick up a good amount of ownership. But if you want to go to, well, on FanDuel, if you want to go to Luka or LeBron, that's where you're going to get different there. I guess Harden as well. These players all not on the DraftKings main slate. I would say also if you want to go to Towns, want to go to Anthony Edwards, want to go to Trae Young. These guys all significantly less owned than Giannis, significantly less appealing to get to. So Giannis looks great, but that in itself is the issue, and that's the yin and yang of NBA DFS. Luka Doncic, if you are playing on DraftKings or Underdog, on FanDuel or Underdog, Luka looks okay here. If he does play, if he is out, he's going to make LeBron look a lot better because you already have Austin Reeves out for the Lakers. So for our FanDuel friends out there, keep that in mind. LeBron and Luka, though, project pretty close to me. They are sort of currently the Lakers version of the Orlando Magic, where Franz Wagner, Paolo Banchero, I think, function the same player on most slates. Luka and LeBron, to me, function the same players, but they are priced about a little more expensively on DraftKings for Luka Doncic. If you are playing the late slate on there, and I think FanDuel, Luka's a little bit more expensive as well. Harden, 9,500 for him on FanDuel, looking okay to me. No Norman Powell again. Also no Derek Jones. Doesn't matter that much, but opens things up a little bit more for the Clippers to consolidate minutes and theoretically some usage. So Harden looks okay. DraftKings, though, back to that. Towns a Q tag right now. If he's out, you theoretically get more Mitchell Robinson minutes, though how many minutes he can play, I don't know. Precious Achiuwa would probably get up as well in terms of minutes there. So Karl-Anthony Towns, if he does play, he's one of your pivots to a chalky Giannis at 9,800. Knicks total today as well. I mean, they're facing Golden State, which is not a center matchup you're too worried about. But the Knicks, 115.8 implied points. I think we're basically at their average. Well, they're at 117.6. Yeah, it's not a great total for the Knicks, but I think Towns, just given the matchup there, I wouldn't have an issue going to Towns on most slates, but I think versus the Warriors, just really kind of spot he can theoretically get going on a little bit more. As he would really abuse a Quinn and Post for whatever time that he's going to be out there in particular. Anthony Edwards looking, you did pick the right day to arrive late. Anthony Edwards looking pretty good lately, put up 44 real life points in his last game. If chalky Julius Randle plays today and he does fail, you're probably seeing Anthony Edwards take away some of that usage, have a better shot at having the outlier days. So, and at 9,300, another lower owned player here. Not getting a lot of him with how much I'm getting of Giannis, but the point is really that when you get this much Giannis this easily, could be time to consider some of these guys like Towns, like Ant, like Trae Young, like Lillard. Lillard does not gain as much usage-wise from not having Portis and Middleton off the court. Kyle Kuzma, also another guy that loses some, really overall in the rates from his Washington days. But really, the only player who gets better for the Bucks having Middleton and also having Portis off is Giannis. Giannis consolidates usage, gets some more assist upside for himself. I think rebounds a little bit better as well. So Lillard, as a result, I have him less well projected than Stokastic. A 44 projection for me. Stokastic's at 45.9. Would rather get to Giannis generally, but you see that ownership for Giannis again. So if you want to try to get leverage on Giannis, maybe you play another high dollar guy and play Damian Lillard. And that'd be one where if you kind of capture a fail outcome for Giannis, that'd be how you sort of leap the field in DFS. It's like you try to get the way that, Giannis, let's say, puts up 50 fantasy points. So not a bad day traditionally. But if he puts up 50, that means that Lillard maybe got some more points. Brook Lopez maybe got some more points, some more rebounds. Sort of thinking about the way that the chalk player is going to fail is one thing to always try to do in NBA DFS if you want to try to get unique, especially if you're doing something like putting in, a handful of lineups in one of the big tournaments. So there's something to keep in mind here with that. Did I get rid of the Yahoo 411? What the fuck are you talking about? What does that series of words mean? My God. I don't know. And thank you, Larry, for hitting the like button. I would hope people don't penalize me by hitting the dislike button because my microphone muted itself because this room is apparently haunted by both the ghosts of NBA DFS past as well as just the mic not wanting to do work, which I get. Anyway, you got the point here on Cat, Edwards, Trae, same thing here. Lillard, Şengün as well, I would say fits that criteria. It's all these guys, nobody over 10% owned. They all are taking up some amount of the salary. But at this point, oh, thank you. Yahoo Information, of course, a thing that really is near and dear to the Splash Play channel. Again, I still have no idea what we were talking about here. What is this day? Like, are we just testing the boundaries of me after Jaren Jackson broke my brain last night? All these guys here looking okay for the most part, but none of them standing out that much. And that's where you can theoretically get some different on a day where Giannis projects so well. These guys all project perfectly fine, but nobody's standing out in a meaningful way. And Trae Young, as usual, doesn't project as well to me as a value play relative to Dyson Daniels, relative to some of the other guys in that Hawks rotation, Okongwu in particular, because Trae Young loses some assist upside, loses some usage for whatever reason in court time without Jalen Johnson, Bogdan Bogdanovic, and DeAndre Hunter, the dearly departed Hawks, that is. All right. And that's your top projected guys. Let's sort by value. Value is also not great so far either. Really, we need some stuff to open up later on would be the hope. And hopefully it'll be better value than, hopefully it'll be more of the Cam Whitmore kind of value, not the Kevin Love kind of value on yesterday's slate. Top values right now, Okongwu, the guy I just mentioned there about the Hawks, really gaining more in terms of rates. Actually, is a better producer per minute at court time without all those former Hawks / injured Jalen Johnson. He's playing better per minute than Trae Young is. He's averaging, where are we at? 1 point. You know what? He's actually flat with Trae Young, basically. 1.15 fantasy points a minute for Okongwu, 1.18 for Trae Young. But you're paying $6,200 for Okongwu. You're paying $10K for Trae Young. So I prefer Okongwu again. He's a player I've liked at a lot of slates lately. Another good total for the Hawks today. Hawks we saw yesterday actually beating out the combined total for them and Memphis. They're just not a good defense. And if they're playing any situation where the other team is also not playing incredibly slow, and that's the case again today for Atlanta. Today, the spot for them losing about, I guess technically they're losing about 3.5 possessions, but Milwaukee's still at about 100 pace. That's towards the higher end of the league. So you're talking another fast-paced matchup with another really high total here of 243 combined points between the two. So I think the Bucks-Hawks game overall an appealing spot, and Okongwu to me, I think would be the most appealing player in that game. Jared Allen, because of no Evan Mobley, he's out for rest today. He looks a little bit better overall. Basically becomes around a 1.2 fantasy point per minute guy in court time without Mobley. Overall for the Cavs, I have the three main Cavs today. Mitchell, obviously, Garland, and Jared Allen. All around 1.3 fantasy points per minute. So when you have Mobley out, just more opportunity goes around for everybody. And Ty Jerome, I think also trickle down of usage for him does help him out a little bit more. But, Ty Jerome Ty Jerome, a little bit more risk for sure in only 23 minutes. So if you're going to take a Cav, I would say take Jared Allen. Getting him 55% of my top 150 lineups in the Stokastic sim I ran before the show with my projections. Fields at 43%. So Allen, a chalk play today. And of course, that means he's going to get hurt within one play. Started watching yesterday's show. Well, see, somebody else fucked up worse than I did with my mic not working. Ty Jerome here, 37% for me, 22% for the field. Again, the minutes here coming off the bench, a little bit of a risk here at 5,100. Ty Jerome's been great all year. In court time without Mobley as well. He is averaging for himself. Too many players are out, so I have too many different sets of rate data. He is averaging 1.3 fantasy points a minute without Mobley and 1,000 possessions. So in the safe zone of possessions for sure is where the Ty Jerome numbers are. 26.4% usage, 25% assist rate. So Ty Jerome averaging 1.28 fantasy points a minute. Darius Garland averaging 1.26 without Mobley. Mitchell averaging 1.32. And Jared Allen averaging 1.25. So that's where your Cavs are. They're all better plays because Mobley being out. So I think they are all very much in the mix today. Giannis still a top value despite being 11K. Really hard to avoid Giannis, but as I mentioned, maybe try to get closer to the field than what I'm getting in my sim. Would really advocate trying to get some different pay-up options, because really that's the one thing I've noticed when I do try to like flatten my exposures out a little bit is like you don't want to be overexposed to the pay-up option guys. And granted, a slate like yesterday in particular, that would have meant you get less Maxey, you get less Jalen Johnson, you get less of the guys who are going to be severely hurt and ruin the slate. You bounce that out then, but really it's more about capturing guys who have that 60, 70 fantasy point upside. Your SGAs on a slate like yesterday. We don't have like one-to-one comparisons for Giannis on the DraftKings slate where even Luka, even LeBron, they're not on the slate. So you kind of have to go to that Towns tier more so. But I think you're going to do better like trying to not go crazy on Giannis here. Spread out your money here. Maybe get a mixture of 8K, 9K guys instead of paying up for an 11K guy. But do something different there because it's just too easy to get to Giannis. Andrew Nembhard played high 30s minutes last time the Pacers played, basically just getting a lot of minutes because of not having Benedict Mathurin in. He's also out again today. So for Nembhard, another guy here, not a great play, but technically a value here. And the Stokastic minutes projection at 32 feels a little bit light, given that he played, I believe, 37 the last time they played. Zach Collins, still an okay value here. Jalen Smith, rather, not really coming for minutes for them. At this point for Chicago. Smith coming off the concussion thing. At a certain point, he might flip Collins. But Collins last game could have played 30 minutes if the game wasn't out of hand. So I think Collins still safe, but the 3K price tag, you're paying fully for what you're getting at this point with Zach Collins. Getting him at 15% of my lineups, though. Fields at 11. George Niang coming up a little bit for me, 29%. Fields at 19. Minutes look okay for him at 4,200. We did see Levert have the outlier game yesterday with Niang out for an illness. So, Levert certainly keeping that momentum going would be a thing that would inhibit Niang. So just kind of keep that in mind with Niang being decently owned, about 20% of the field. And I think Levert not going to be as highly owned. Quentin Grimes is okay to me. He's a Q tag right now, though, with a biceps injury. Quentin Grimes yesterday became your kind of lead Sixers ball handler because Maxey was out. Paul George was out. Oubre was out. Today you get Oubre in. It's a Q tag on Paul George. So if Grimes and Paul George don't go, Justin Edwards also sprained his ankle yesterday. So I would assume he wouldn't play, but he's currently questionable as well. Sixers rotation could get pretty thin here, and you could end up with a value like a Ricky Council if, let's say, Paul George, Grimes, and also Edwards are all out. But Quentin Grimes right now looks okay. He's been really one of the better per minute producers in court time without the various Sixers out today. And today that it's Embiid, who's obviously out for the rest of the year, and Tyrese Maxey, who's out. And again, Q tags right now on Edwards and Paul George. But Oubre is going to play, apparently. Chris Paul, biggest rate winner in court time without Wemby, getting him at 25% of my lineups, Fields at 10. And Keldon Johnson, flat with the Fields, 13%. But really no great values, as we always talk about here. I do these videos in the 4 o'clock hour, the NBA with how it is, with the injuries and all that. It changes so much. I am constantly updating the data, of course, which you can get if you want to join down below. You want to see this data I'm showing you on the screen, updated throughout the night. You can get it for yourself, the Squirt Squad tier. If you want to get my projections exportable for either a Stokastic sim or whatever else you're using out there, you could also get the Squirt Squad VIP tier. But check all that stuff out. And guys, we are also about 30 subs away from 1,000. So please help me out. Maybe if we get to 1,000 subs, I'll stop making mistakes on stream and hitting the mute button or whatever, or being haunted. I'll do the best I can to keep the microphone from being haunted. That's my promise here. If you guys subscribe down below, hit the like button, and of course, leave a comment if you watch after the fact as well. It all goes a long way. And check out our presenting sponsor, Unabated, 20% off. Link in the description. Great betting tools. You'd be up $40,000 if you took every bet that we give at Unabated 30 minutes before tip-off. So check it out for yourself. Really great data run by professional bettors. It's something that'll help you out. And of course, Stokastic, which I use some of their data here on screen, the ownership and their data just kind of compare to mine. You get more for yourself, updated throughout the evening. Their Sims tool as well. If you want to combine my data with the Sim, it's one way to get unique. Check it out for yourself. The link down below. Link in the description, both Unabated and Stokastic. And for Stokastic, you get 15% off. It's the only deal they have going right now. So do check it out. All right, let's go game by game here. We got Toronto, 100 implied points. Orlando, 107.5. Toronto's side, everybody healthy, so not a lot to love here. RJ Barrett still getting 17% of my top 150 lineups with him. He does project well for me, averaging 1.15 fantasy points a minute and about $900 cheaper than Scotty Barnes. I really have no issue with Barnes, Barrett, or quickly on a given slate. The total here at 100 implied points, though, not the best, so thank you for that. This nice chat here. Catching up the beginning killed me. Thank you, Spags. Yes, I'm glad. My frustration always will do well for everybody else. Lonnie Walker, puke button. He played well yesterday, but, he was also a little bit of leverage against some of the higher-owned Sixers, I guess. So that is the nature of how it goes. But Walker, I thought, was playing pretty clean out there. He hasn't really had great results on the year. I don't know. We'll talk about it more when he get there, I'm sure. But he would look better, too, for sure, if he had the wings out. Also, well, you're not a Philly yet, but Jared Butler, outside shot of getting a start, but I think it might be a Jeff Doughton start today for Maxey, which would be not the most fun. Anyway, Toronto here, nothing I really love that much, but getting 2x the field on Barrett. Jacoby Walter getting a little bit more as well as a value play, 3,700 shooting guard, small forward, but really not a great total for Toronto, not a great matchup, low pace, good defense, really not the spot you really want to attack on paper normally. And also losing your flexibility on a slate where there's a lot of Q tags, you can get some late swap ability. Not really the day to play too much, Toronto. Oh, you. Jared Butler has been playing backup point guard, so I'm not sure that he would be the Philadelphia starter today. I would love if he were, but I don't know that it's going to be the case. They might not start either Doughton or Butler, but Butler, legit hasn't been coming in for Maxey lately. It was Doughton last game, so I don't know. I think Butler might be filed away in a different category now than lead point guard, unfortunately. Anyway, Orlando on their side, a little bit of a softer matchup on paper, facing a team giving up 116 points per 100 possessions here. A little bit of pace up as well. So Banchero and Wagner, I don't mind. Fields at 22% Banchero, 21% Wagner. I'm with the field on Wagner, a little bit lower on Banchero. Really don't have an issue with either. They both gain usage from the ongoing Jalen Suggs being out. He's now out the rest of the year. But I think Cole Anthony gains a little bit more here at a $5K salary. So getting 2x the field on him, I think the ownership on Banchero and Wagner is fine. But if I get 15, the difference between 15 and 20 means getting a little bit more Cole Anthony, I'm pretty okay with how that works. Just the general kind of concept of DFS. But decent price tags for Banchero, not a bad matchup, and Wagner. I think these guys work pretty well, even though, again, tying up a lot of salary early on. So just one to keep in mind. Houston, 114 implied points on their side, getting everybody back who sat out yesterday in an almost upset versus OKC. Houston, though, not looking that great here with Fred VanVleet still out. Jalen Green, 9% for him. He didn't play the entire game yesterday. It was just basically Cam Whitmore shooting the entire game, which was great. One of the best 3K minimum salary plays in the world, and did update people there as well in the Discord. If you want to keep in the loop there, join the Discord, pay for a membership or whatever. But Cam Whitmore, great play yesterday, not playable at all today. Basically how it's going to look. It's not a bad matchup versus Indiana, so I really wouldn't hate going to these guys. But Houston's total at 114 implied points, not the best. Jalen Green, getting him at 10%. If you wanted to get Şengün at all here, I'm not getting much. I think that'd be okay. But steep price tags for these guys, so hard to get here. But, it is technically a pace up. Pacers defense, not somebody we're worried about. So I think the Rockets would be a perfectly fine place if you can get there. Fact that injuries were the only reason I cashed tells me I must be building shit. I mean, look, you just didn't play the chalk. I'm really injury tilted. I was on a really hot run for a good 2-3 weeks. And in this last week, I'm just I feel like I'm cursed with the amount of injuries and stuff, all that. And frankly, the slates where there weren't injuries too, Friday just had bad lineups. So I don't know. It's been tough. It's been a little bit frustrating, but that's NBA. I think for the most part, it's going to be ebbs and flows. So it's all about how you manage it and how you deal with that and your muted microphones. It all builds strength. Indiana on their side, pretty chalky. Andrew Nembhard, as we talked about, 29% of the field. I'm getting 39. Neesmith as well, another value at 4,500. Shooting guard, small forward, 19% for the field. I'm getting 31. A little bit lower on Siakam, lower on Miles Turner. Same thing as usual, not getting Halliburton. Gave these guys their usual rate boost without Mathurin, and unfortunately, it doesn't really benefit Siakam and Halliburton as much as I would want. It's not a great matchup either, so I'm not too worried about it, but it is a back-to-back for Houston, even though they are, missing a few guys or playing a few guys who didn't play yesterday. So they should be relatively fresh for back-to-back standards. There's probably more to this game than given credit for, especially if you're going to have a chalky Nembhard. But I just don't really get Indiana that much, and I don't know that it's going to change here. In a tough matchup on paper versus Houston. Milwaukee up next, 124.3 implied points. Really high total here versus Atlanta, which is going to be the case many slates as it was yesterday versus Memphis. Giannis, as we talked about, he is your high dollar guy. It's going to be easy to get to or easy enough to get to. 30% owned by the field. I'm getting 2x that in my top 150. Do you think trying to balance it out, get him a little bit lower, even if you want to get 40%, 50%, just try to get some different looks at the pay-up options that are not Giannis, I think, is a wise way to do it. He did play 32 minutes last game as well, so the minutes cap, I think, is technically there, but Stochastic has him at 33.7 minutes. It might be a little bit high, but it really doesn't matter. He still projects like 10 points higher than everybody else, even if you were to give him like a minute less and change. Damian Lillard would be your direct leverage on Giannis if you want to play him at a 9K salary. The issue is that he doesn't gain quite as much from Middleton and Portis being off the court as Giannis does in terms of the rates. Giannis, with those guys off, has averaged 1.7 fantasy points per minute. Lillard's average 1.2. So Lillard, a little bit less usage, a little bit less assist rate, whereas Giannis goes up in those two categories. So Giannis, to me, would be the ideal play to get here, but he's chalky. So that's the reason I think to play Lillard a little bit. Kuzma projects terribly for me. His rates have been down overall as a buck, like literally every rate, usage, rebounds, assist. I don't see Kuzma being a thing. Sometimes he hits. It's a high enough total where if you want to go to Kuzma, I'm not going to yell at you about it, but I do think he looks like an awful value to me, and he just hasn't been that good as a buck so far. His true shooting is actually going down as well. He was just shy of 50. He's at like 49.8. Now he's down to 49.1. He's just playing awfully this year. Really one of the worst trades, I think, in the NBA this year was trading for Kyle Kuzma. Besides that, nothing really stands out too much. Taurean Prince, I know in the Solver Optimizer, ran that before the show just to get a different look on my projections. He was coming up a little bit more for me there because he's got $4,200 salary. I think that makes some lineups work that are top projected. But Taurean Prince, not the highest upside guy in the world. Milwaukee really is Giannis and bust kind of on the seam. But do you think if you go to Lillard, you get some leverage for him? Just because people are going to be playing a lot of Giannis today. Atlanta on their side, as I've talked about pretty much every time with Atlanta, the guys they have out just make Trae Young's rates hurt a little bit more than they should. Benefits Dyson Daniels. He gets more assist upside, more usage. Same thing for Okongwu as well. I don't mind Trae Young in this spot at 3% owned. Like, it's not terrible ownership. 10K salary definitely gets you leverage on Giannis, but Trae back-to-back, he played the most minutes for the Hawks yesterday. It's not a tough defensive matchup for sure going against the Bucks at this point, but Trae Young, to me, not a priority play, but I could see the tournament theory for him at 3% owned. And, frankly, it's a salary people aren't going to want to pay at 10K. Dyson Daniels only getting 15% today, Fields at 11, so not a big stand there, but still a pro stand. A game-winning play for him yesterday for the Hawks on the assist to LeVert. Okongwu looks the best here, 3x the field for me. Niang getting him a good amount as a value. Definitely don't want to go too nuts on it for a guy likely playing off the bench, especially when guys like LeVert and Reza Shea looked good yesterday. They could certainly hold on the minutes to keep Niang at bay. But, Niang in there, 4,200 is a little bit cheaper, so not a bad play, even though really he's not this much better of a play than LeVert and Reza Shea. Golden State here, I got nothing, so I'm going to make up some time and not talk about it. Nobody here looks that good. If Steph Curry is out, Podziemski will start to look a lot better. Butler will look playable. Draymond will look a little bit better. Hield will get more minutes, I would think. Pat Spencer might get in the rotation more meaningfully. So Golden State, and maybe if Steph got ruled out, maybe a bunch of guys could get ruled out. So I'd watch out for the Steph thing. You'll know early enough. I think it's a 7:30 start time. A 7:30 start time for Golden State, New York. So we need to know this game in general because of the Karl-Anthony Towns side of the equation as well. But Steph, Q-tag. So right now, nothing looks good, but that could change. New York on their side, nothing here stands out right now. Cat, I do think, is a pivot to Giannis, but it's basically it. Josh Hart getting him at 8%. Everybody else, 5% or less. No real stands here. It's not a great total, but Certainly not a terrible matchup versus Golden State, even though it is towards the upper half of the league here. Philadelphia probably would like to see Paul George and Quentin Grimes out to shorten this rotation and give you some real value. At that point, you're probably then getting Jared Butler in the rotation, Lonnie Walker in the rotation more so. Justin Edwards, I find it hard to believe would play. His ankle sprain looked as bad as some of the other ones that happened yesterday. Frankly, looked worse, I thought, than the Jaren Jackson one. But Justin Edwards, Q-tag right now. Paul George, I don't know what's keeping him from playing besides the fact the Sixers season seems like it might be donezo. 15-point spread here. Paul George isn't good enough, I think, to mean that that spread is saying that he's sitting out. But that does feel like a pretty big spread here, saying he could be sitting out. If George is out, I think Oubre is going to become a much better play. Grimes a much better play. Yabu. Drummond also put up a lot of usage yesterday. I don't know what to make of it because he hasn't really done that before in games where Embiid was out. Obviously was facing, a situation where the center play was not the most daunting going against him. So maybe that's something here for Drummond in certain matchups. Today he's getting no Gobert. So maybe Drummond can do it again for another day. But really, I don't have any big Philadelphia stands right now. Just need more clarity. But I am up on Grimes right now, a little bit lower on Drummond. And Drummond projected for 22% ownership. I would think that people are going to chase that game yesterday because he looked like old Drummond for the first time this entire year. And he really has been a lower usage version, lower assist upside version, just getting less possessions, and feels point JC to me to go to Drummond, but like he legit dominated the offense in that game in a way he has not. Many defense going to murder Philly, but I'm a Wolves fan. I mean, I would think that the Wings would have a tough time for sure, but Drummond with no real center in there, like Naz Reid, I guess can keep him at bay and frustrate him a little bit, but I think Drummond can still bully him enough to get the kind of plays he wants. It just comes down to, like, are they going to give Drummond the ball in the post as much as they did yesterday? And, is he going to be able to crash the glass as well as he did yesterday on a back-to-back? I think that's where I kind of ask questions about Drummond more so, but 20% ownership feels fair to me on a day after he just literally, won the slate with almost 60 fantasy points. Minnesota on their side, not getting a lot of Ant, 7% for me. Fields at 9%. Getting a lot more Julius Randle, 30% for the field. I'm at 25. I never liked Julius Randle, but he is averaging about 1.15 fantasy points a minute with Rudy Gobert off the court. So I think that Randle is a decent play if he plays. If Randle's out, McDaniels will look better. Naz Reid will look a lot better. Ant will look better. Everybody will look better overall. It's a really good total for Minnesota right now at 117.3. So if you get Randle out, maybe they'll lose a half point or something, but I don't even know if they will. Minnesota would look like a much different team and probably a much more priority team as opposed to right now where it's just kind of Randle and nothing else. Cleveland, high total here, 127.8 implied points, and that's with Mobley out. So that's the reason why you're getting a good amount of Mitchell, good amount of Garland. Jared Allen, 43% owned. As we talked about, he's your biggest winner overall in court time without Evan Mobley. So for Jared Allen, I think he's a priority play here, 55% for me, 43% for the field. If you could find a price point pivot at 6,200 that you like enough, that could be one way to win the slate, like we saw yesterday with Jonas Valanciunas. But, hard to imagine Allen, to me, not getting you 30 and change no matter what. So if you're playing a cash game, Jared Allen, probably one of your first guys in, I would think. Ty Jerome, pretty big stand on him. I think really you kind of want to flatten this out a little bit more than I have it right now, where Ty Jerome's playing off the bench. No guarantee he closes the game, gets enough minutes, or produces well enough and minutes off the bench. So probably want to come down a little bit on him and get more Mitchell. I'm low on him. Garland, I'm okay with this ownership, 17% for the field. I'm at 20. That feels like perfect. But I think really it's a lot of Ty Jerome, and he's the guy off the bench. And I love Ty Jerome. Again, he gains a lot here in usage and assist upside because of Mobley not being in for whatever reason. But, you want to go with starters usually in these spots. And Mitchell and Garland, starters, Jared Allen, starter. Ty Jerome, the minutes can always be in flux. With this high of a total, you want to get DeAndre Hunter. You could take the shot. Minutes are not great for him. Same thing for Strus. That's the issue, too, for Cleveland is Ty Jerome. He's the only one here getting even close to 30 minutes. Everybody else here is around, even your stars are just under 30. So you're not getting the huge run of minutes. You're looking for guys to be really productive in a short run of time. If you got a Dean Wade start, I don't think you would, but maybe that's a thing that could happen. He'd be interesting, too, at 3,400. It's a really high total here. So if you feel something in your gut to take a shot, this is the kind of game to do it because this Cleveland total, the Memphis total yesterday, just two of the highest ones we've had this year. Is he better call Ty Jerome? Yeah, that song always pops into my head as well. And tell him, come on, is what you have to do. Chicago, 115.3 implied points here. I would assume out for the year. Nikola Vucevic out for calf strain / tanking reasons. Really not a great total for Chicago, but competitive game theoretically here. And they're giving up a high enough total on their side. We've seen it happen before, including yesterday. People don't want to play a 12-point spread like Houston OKC, and the game ends up being close enough. And guys like SGA get there and put up 70 points. So playing Chicago here, playing the other side, both makes sense if you do, anticipate a blowout, which you shouldn't do that often. That said, for Chicago here, I'm under the field on pretty much everything besides Zach Collins. Nobody here looks too highly owned. Like Giddey, 8%, I'm at 5. Kobe White, 8%, I'm at 8%. Collins, I'm at 15 compared to the field's 11. Buzelis, a little bit lower on, but still getting 13 compared to the field's 18. Lonzo, these guys are all a little bit owned, so really no advantageous stands, I would think, here. Kobe White and Giddey being lesser owned when they're kind of the ball dominant guys, I guess stands out a little. But tough matchup on paper versus Cleveland. You're losing one big. We still have a tough rim protector in there with Jared Allen. So Chicago, I think I don't mind here, but yeah, that's basically it. Josh mentioned being high on Lonzo. Sure. I mean, I don't think he's a bad play. I mean, I'm getting 13%, but yeah, I'm not high on him personally. I think he's one of those plays that in your brain is a better play because you're like, oh, no Dosunmu, no Levine. Lonzo should consolidate something. But I think the bigger issue is in the rates, which I think Josh doesn't chop up as much from what I know. And we talk about a lot in the deeper dive. He doesn't go with the smaller sample size rate stuff, just kind of lets things ride. I would say for me, the thing that stands out is like Giddey really consolidating possessions generally when guys like Dosunmu and Levine and Vooch are out. So I think it's just a different way of looking at the data where if you expect things to kind of be flat for everybody, then Lonzo will stand out more. Whereas if you look at the rates and the underlying stuff, the smaller sample size stuff, like Giddey kind of pops more. But that's my lean. Obviously, Josh is smart as anybody out there, as you guys know. And I say enough on here. Brooklyn, I got nothing with their 112.5 implied points. Cam Thomas and Russell being in, nobody playing high minutes. I just don't know what you would do here. Not a great total, not a great pace game either, even though it is technically a pace-up spot. And, league average defense on both sides here. San Antonio, De'Aaron Fox, the rates just don't go up at all with Wemby off the court. Fox is basically averaging less usage and less assists than he was averaging on Sacramento in court time without Wemby, which is kind of odd. You would think that would be up. But he is averaging, it's now 630 possessions, so above 550 is normally what we're looking for rates to stabilize. Only 1.1 fantasy points per minute, 27% assist rate. 50% true shooting is not good. Should do a little bit better there, but he's at 56% on the year. But it's still like he's just not doing enough underlying. He's not really dominating the ball. He's not great. The price tag, though, is at 8,200, so you could take the shots on Fox, but it's 16% owned. I'm getting 3. I don't feel like I need to be there. But Brooklyn sucks, or, at least, middle of the pack, if nothing else. So you want to take shots on Fox. I'm not mad at you, but I don't need to be there. Getting some leverage on him, though, with Devin Vassell, Chris Paul. These guys do gain a little bit more in terms of the usage, in terms of the assist upside because of not having Wemby. Same thing for Keldon Johnson, 13% for the field or 14% rounded up. I'm at 13. San Antonio, an okay team to go to here. I'd be a little bit hesitant to go to a ton of these guys just because it is a pace down spot. Brooklyn plays pretty low pace, and their defense is, league average. So that's that. And your FanDuel Underdog games, again, I'm not going to talk about them here. If you want to get the data, join down below. You can get my FanDuel and Underdog stuff for yourself. But here they are here, and you can see it for yourself. But Austin Reeves out does matter a lot for the Lakers. And if Luka were out as well, LeBron would be probably a must-play on FanDuel at that point. Let's go to our world of unabated, guys. Of course, you got to learn about the conditional NBA projections, and there's no better way to do that in this little video. It's like being back in grade school, guys. I'm going to show you a video. You're going to learn something, and then we're going to do some best bets with our friends at Unabated right now. Expert NBA projections every day. They're Justin, Fan of the crew, doing good work, making sure that things are updated in a timely fashion, including alerts that are faster on Discord than anything you're going to find on Twitter. Dynamic conditional projections, that's what we talk about here every day. Guys are questionable. You get the different projection sets, whether they play or not going to play. You can then pounce on bets accordingly from there. Real-time NBA news, that's the Discord alerts we're talking about. You get those on your phone. They tag everybody on Discord. You get the alert there, and I will tell you it is faster than Twitter. You have your things on Discord set up right. And, of course, you got graphs. Everybody loves graphs. We all know that. You get more graphs per capita than anywhere else if you go to Underdog. Or go to Unabated, excuse me, not Underdog. Underdog doesn't have any graphs. That's why we're team Unabated here. Typically for graphs. Speaking of graphs, you see the Unabated win total here, the ROI total for all the bets placed 30 minutes before tip-off, 5% or higher edges. If you place $100 units, you'd be up about $42,000 right now. And that's all the bets 30 minutes before tip-off. If you place every bet when their conditional projections release at 4:30 p.m. East Coast time every day, it's another $38,000 or so. So again, that's $100 units. Not everybody has the money to do that. But if you were putting $10 units and taking every bet, you would be really up a lot of money. So that's the main thing for yourself. Really sharp bettors, people spending a lot more money than you or I on a given slate, use Unabated on a daily basis, and that is the main way they are sometimes making money based on what the people you see talking to their Discord. So check it out for yourself. It is a great tool, a great product, run by professional bettors, not just dudes yelling at stuff on Twitter, placing parlays and fucking using fucking fake slips. I don't even know what people do, but if anything in doubt, if you could think of something evil and borderline corrupt, people will do that to sell you picks. Unabated doesn't have to do that. It's just the best data you can find. So check it out for yourself. 20% off, link down below. NBA projections they have as well if you want to get those. A little bit more expensive than mine, which is great because you're getting premium data that people are also probably not using enough in the market. But check it out. And of course, the betting is the main thing here. Got to put in the sweat equity, but you can make money on betting. All right, we got better results than the Dow. I mean, certainly better results than the Dow. We got Scotty Barnes here, under 18.5 points, minus 118 odds on FanDuel is your best bet right now. Give you 12.3% EV, but it looks good on PrizePicks as well. Actually, same odds on PrizePicks. A line got pulled at Underdog, but good on DraftKings too. For Scotty Barnes, under 18.5 points, get it on DraftKings, FanDuel, or PrizePicks. Alperen Şengün over 20.5 points, plus 100 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook gets you 11.5% EV. DraftKings Sportsbook over 20.5 points for Şengün gets you 8.9% EV. So take the Şengün over 20.5 points on both your regular sportsbooks here, DraftKings and FanDuel. Of course, more sportsbooks around Unabated itself. I just show you guys the primary ones, your pick'em sites, your DraftKings Sportsbook, and this EV number that we talked about here, the over 5%. That's the green number here if you are new to the stream. Max Strus over 9.5 points. Definitely some opportunity to go around with Mobley out. Minus 102 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook gets you 10.8% EV. You'd also bet it on DraftKings Sportsbook at less advantageous. Minus 110 odds on there. But Max Strus looking good on your regular sportsbooks, probably not in your pick'em sites. Obi Toppin over 8.5 points. 10.4% EV for Obi Toppin, plus 104 odds on FanDuel Sportsbook is your best one here. DraftKings Sportsbook, you take Obi Toppin as well, over 8.5 points at minus 105 odds. That gets you 5.7% EV, but Obi Toppin, good on DraftKings and FanDuel, over 8.5 points. Thomas Bryant over 7.5 points. It looks best on DraftKings Sportsbook at minus 105 odds. Thomas Bryant also playable on PrizePicks. Over 7 there is the line for him for points on the usual PrizePicks odds. But Thomas Bryant looking good on DraftKings and FanDuel for over 7.5 or over 7 points. Terrence Mann over 7.5 points, minus 125 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook is your best bet. That gets you 9.4% EV. Still bettable on PrizePicks as well. Terrence Mann over 8 points on there. And I guess you could do it on FanDuel too. So Terrence Mann over 8 points everywhere besides Underdog. And George Niang over 11.5 points, 9.1% EV for George Niang, projected by Unabated to play 27 minutes. So that is why he looks like a good value today. But over 11.5 points for Niang on FanDuel looks the best. And that's the only place you can get it. 9.1% EV on FanDuel's plus 104 odds. Rebounds coming up next. Let's sim these bad boys. Luka now probable. There we go. I'm also probable to pick up my Luka in a moment too. So we got some things going here. We've all got Lukas in our lives. All right, what are we doing here? Let's pull in all the markets. All right. Bismack Biyombo, your best rebounds bet. 23.9% EV for Bismack Biyombo over 5.5 points. That's at plus 110 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. That's a really good line to take right now. Biyombo on FanDuel as well, looking good over 5.5 at plus 102. So plus money and that much EV, you should really run to take it if you can. It looks like DraftKings actually moving the line as we speak. PrizePicks 9% EV as well. So Bismack Biyombo over 5.5 rebounds, anywhere you can get it. Jalen Green under 4.5 rebounds, looking good on DraftKings Sportsbook. Minus 110 odds on there. Underdog also 15.6% EV. That one's moving. All right. So Jalen Green under 4.5 rebounds, looking good on Underdog, DraftKings, and FanDuel. Jalen Green under 4.5 rebounds on those 3 sites. Dean Wade under 5.5 rebounds, looks best on Underdog, 18.5% EV. Still bettable on DraftKings and PrizePicks where it's under 5.5 and under 5, but take the Dean Wade lower 5.5 rebounds. Underdog if you can get it. Orlando Robinson under 5 rebounds. Looks best on PrizePicks. Is not available anywhere else. Orlando Robinson, PrizePicks. He's now got a standard contract, so he can underperform comfortably. That's how it works for Orlando Robinson. Chris Dunn over 4 rebounds. 18.1% EV for him on PrizePicks. That's the best bet by a wide margin. Still good on DraftKings and FanDuel, though, for over 4.5 rebounds for Chris Dunn. So Chris Dunn playing a good amount of minutes for the Clippers. Not a fun DFS play. Probably better to take in a prop bet. Jamal Shead under 1.5 rebounds, looking good on PrizePicks, 18.1% EV, and that's the only place you can play it. And Sam Merrill under 2.5 rebounds, plus 110 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook for Sam Merrill, gets you 12.8% EV, and that's the only place it's available. So Sam Merrill under 2.5 rebounds. Assist, the third leg of our quadrathlon, whatever. You don't have Luka anymore? Oh, sorry. Mavs fans suffering. Never has a franchise been cursed quite as quickly as Kyrie. I thought he hurt his foot/ankle yesterday. I did not expect ACL tear. Granted, how tough it was for him to walk. Clearly, I thought it was might have been an Achilles or something. But ACL tear for Kyrie, so he's probably done till next year. He might not play next year either. So that's the Mavs situation. Really got dire fast, but even got more dire yesterday. Now AD probably shut down for the year as well. Going to be a lot of value, though, because Jaden Hardy's also out for the Mavs. I'm sure we'll talk about that tomorrow. We got Tari Eason here. Yeah, best trade ever. If you want to tank the value of your team so you can move it somewhere else and open casinos, which is one of the fan conspiracy theories for the Mavs, then they're doing a good job. Tari Eason over 1.5 assists, 31.7% EV at plus 130 odds on DraftKings. Not available anywhere else. So Tari Eason only on DraftKings over 1.5 assists after being out yesterday. He's well rested. Amin Thompson under 5.5 assists. The lower on Underdog looks best, 19.7% EV. Still bettable everywhere else. Our first Grand Slam for Amin Thompson under 5.5 assists. Good on PrizePicks, Underdog, DraftKings, and FanDuel, but it is the best on Underdog, then FanDuel, actually. Jamal Shead under 3.5 assists, minus 118 odds. The usual line on PrizePicks gets you 18.3% EV. Not available anywhere else, though, for Jamal Shead under 3.5 assists. We got Max Strus over 3.5 assists, plus 130 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook. It's a 17.3% EV. FanDuel 13.4% EV on over 2.5 assists. So Strus overs on assists. He's going to be out there for a lot of minutes, so it makes sense today. RJ Barrett over 3.5 assists. Looking good at DraftKings, minus 160. A lot of vig on it, but 13.3% EV. Bettable on FanDuel as well, where it's probably even worse odds. Over 4.5 at plus 114. I'd honestly rather take the FanDuel plus money, even though it's technically less EV, but take them both. Ladder them, I guess. Terrence Mann for RJ Barrett, that is over 3.5 assists. Terrence Mann under 2.5 assists. Good on the Pick'em sites. 12.3% EV. Looking good on DraftKings as well. 11.4% EV for Terrence Mann under 2.5 assists. He's been producing pretty well in Atlanta so far for what it's worth, though. Clint Capella, 11.7% EV for over 0.5 assists on both your Pick'em sites. 11.7% EV for Capella over 0.5 assists. And CJ McCollum, 11.4% EV on the under 4.5 assists is your best bet here. And the only bet you should want to take on PrizePicks right now for McConnell. And there we go. There it is. Things are moving. Things are moving in real time. Unabated does update in real time, so you are never left holding the bag on bad bets. Move the team to Vegas. This happens to my birthday. Oh, all right. Well, you win either way then, Chunks. That's a positive. Exim and PJ out tomorrow also. Are they for sure going to be out? I mean, it's going to be a Dinwiddie slate. I think you got to pay the Dinwiddie price tag no matter what. we're eating here. Yeah. Major League, the NBA version. Well, yeah, I mean, honestly, it's less sexy owners, I think. It's like a chunky white guy instead of like the kind of hot. Well, she was a daughter, right? Or no, the ex-wife, Major League. So, I'd rather have the Major League version, I think. Last but not least, our PRAs. And again, a lot more bets at Unabated. You can see all the conditional projections here for the various Q-Tag players. There are 10 of them on the slate. So these are all the teams that we don't have access to right now, but you can get for yourself. You can place bets on the guys who are questionable right now, place their positive bets if they're in, and then place the bets for them being out the moment you know the guy's out. That's how you extract the most EV from this if you want. And if you want to be lazy about it, just do every bet 30 minutes before tip-off, like Unabated recommends. PRA's bets. We got 12.6% EV for Tari Eason. Minus 120 odds over 19.5 PRAs. Looks good on DraftKings Sportsbook. And it's the only place you should bet it for Tari Eason over 19.5 PRAs. Max Strus over 17.5 PRAs. Best on FanDuel, but good everywhere else. The Grand Slam for Max Strus today. over 17.5 PRAs, 10.9% EV on FanDuel, but good everywhere else as well. Your pick'em sites and DraftKings. Amin Thompson under 29.5 PRAs, looks best on FanDuel at -106 odds. You can still bet it on DraftKings at -115 odds. Jalen Green under 31.5 PRAs, the -105 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook look the best, 8.5% EV. Still good on FanDuel as well, 7% EV at -108 odds. Dean Wade, under 12.5 PRAs. I would like him if he starts, but if he doesn't start, and he might not start, I could certainly live with an under here. Pick'em sites for Dean Wade. Take under 12.5 PRAs on PrizePicks and Underdog. Alperen Şengün. Oh, where'd he go? Alperen Şengün over 35.5 PRAs. Looks good on FanDuel. 8% EV for him on FanDuel. Nowhere else, though. And this LeBron line just came in. All right, so LeBron over 42.5 PRAs, -115 odds on DraftKings Sportsbook gets you 9.4% EV. And you can bet LeBron as well on FanDuel over 42.5 at -125. There you go. Unabated updating here in real time. Please do check it out for yourself. I know a couple of you guys did last month. Let's keep it going here. I could not put on the show if it weren't for Unabated. And frankly, I need all the partners I can at this point who want to pay me good money. So please go check them out. Unabated, 20% off, link down below. It is a great product, great tool. You see it here every day. If you probably just tailed the bets that I showed you here on stream, you'd have a little graph for yourself to show the results. But do check it out. Really great company. And really, for me, the main thing for any product I promote is like knowing that people are going to be in good hands when they use the product. And I think that would certainly be the case with Unabated. And same thing for Stokastic as well here in the world of DFS. So I don't know why I'm getting the banner ad here. We're going to do our sim here of Stokastic data. Again, my data you saw influencing the sim before with everything we looked at in the data sheet. Now you're just getting Stokastic sim data. So check it out for yourself. Stokastic, link in the description as well. 15% off. They have no deals going right now besides this one. So it's a great deal. And the 15% off is in perpetuity. So check it out for yourself. Half the money you'd be paying to Stokastic comes back to the channel. So it is a great win-win there. And that's how affiliate deals work. if you didn't know, that's how they work. And do subscribe, guys. If you got any value of this video, please subscribe down below. Hit the like button as I adjust I kind of got like a wedgie going, so like a front wedgie. So trying to kind of discreetly adjust here. But this is the only channel where you hear about the host balls getting a little bit tangled up. And that's the promise here every day, is I'm too busy doing the work to even care about the comfort of my testicles while on stream. Anyway, that's the plug. So please hit the like button. Please subscribe. Know more about your host comfort levels. It is not shocking at all to see you saying things like that. 80s women were prob tight. Well, Jesus Christ. What? If you join down below, I will read your chats often with impunity and regret it. Hate getting a front wedgie at work. Makes it so tough without waddling to the bathroom. There. Hashtag comfortable balls. Like putting the dash in between. I don't think I forget. Most of the shows I do are solo, so I'm pretty accustomed to it. I just fill the air with whatever comes to mind. I think it does. I think it works well for me, but you guys tell me. Cole Anthony, Lonzo Ball, your number one ROI lineup with Stokastic data. Again, just their projections, their update, which was as of about an hour ago. Cole Anthony, Lonzo Ball, Aaron Nesmith, Paolo Banchero, Onyeka Okongwu, D'Angelo Russell making it. I'm surprised to see that. Russell not getting enough minutes and Cam Thomas being in does cap the upside, but he's in this lineup. Giannis Antetokounmpo, Andre Drummond, your top ROI lineup from Stokastic. Number 2 is D'Angelo Russell again. I am surprised. Dyson Daniels, Franz Wagner, Tari Eason, Draymond Green, De'Aaron Fox, Matas Buzelis, Andre Drummond. That all makes sense. Like they're all starters. I just cannot believe the old DeAndre Russell. Or D'Angelo Russell, not DeAndre Russell. Sorry. Scotty Barnes, Aaron Nesmith. I couldn't believe DeAndre Russell either because he doesn't exist as a player. Karis LeVert, Paolo Banchero, Onyeka Okongwu, De'Aaron Fox, Matas Buzelis again, Andre Drummond again. So Drummond in 3 of the top 3, D'Angelo Russell in 2 out of the top 3, Buzelis making it in 2 out of the top 3, Banchero in 2 out of the top 3, and Franz in the other one. All right. Number 4, you have Scotty Barnes, Cole Anthony, George Niang, Giannis, Onyeka Okongwu, Lonzo Ball makes it, Matas Buzelis again, Jared Allen. First share of Jared Allen, I would have thought there'd be more of him up here. Number 5, D'Angelo Russell yet again. So Russell in 3 out of these top 5 lineups. I really would have a hard time playing Russell at this point with him not likely to get into the 30s in minutes. And again, having Cam Thomas there just does lots to take away from what Russell does. But Jalen Green with Russell, Franz Wagner, Banchero, Andre Drummond, Karis LeVert, Matas Buzelis again, Jared Allen again. Like the Allen part of this. I like the Magic guys, the alternating Franz and Banchero. I think that makes sense. Giannis, I do like, even though I think it's worth taking some pay up shots. Surprised by Russell. A little bit surprised by Buzelis, I guess. Just doesn't do enough in the court time without Vucevic and everybody else not available for the Bulls. But it's fine. Puppet is next to me. I don't break the Puppet out all the time here. It's honestly weird enough to be by myself. I don't need to have a Puppet talking to me too. I think that's where we fully jump the line into insanity. Your top ROI players right now, according to Stokastic's top 150 lineups here, we got D'Angelo Russell as your highest ROI player. So look, I would not have thought this was a play today based off my data. I didn't juke Russell's rates at all, so that's certainly a part of it, but there just hasn't been a big enough sample size with Cam Thomas on the court with Russell, and that really does worry me a lot for Russell being able to have any assist upside, get enough usage and all that. So Russell here, negative 4% ROI. He's your top guy. And again, we're focused on the directional accuracy, the ROI. The negative number doesn't matter. It's 150 lineups, so it's going to kind of come out weird sometimes like that. Lonzo Ball at number 2. So Russell and Lonzo Ball. Somebody mentioned earlier that Josh Engelman, my pal, loved Alonzo Ball this morning. He apparently looks good here for Stochastic at a $4,700 salary. Montes Buzelis at number 3. No surprise given what we saw of him. Okongwu, I do like him at number 4. Giannis is a pay-up option at number 5. Jared Butler, they're giving some more minutes here. Negative 7% ROI. He is right behind Giannis. If Butler starts, play him. If he doesn't start, I'd really worry about the minutes. Tari Eason, negative 7% ROI for him. And that's your top ROI guys. Highest exposed guys in Stokastic's top 150 lineups. You have Giannis, 57%, Fields at 30, so almost 2x the field on Giannis. They are going the opposite way of what I was thinking, where they're just going to go over the top, play a lot of Giannis. I think you're probably better off getting a good amount of Giannis, get 33%, and then give your rest to some of the other pay-up options. But, sim is the sim, so get 2x the field of Giannis is what they're trying to give you. Jared Allen, 52% compared to 43. I do support being above the field on Jared Allen. Andrew Nembhard, 47% compared to 31. Playing high 30s minutes potentially with Benedict Mathurin out. I think Nembhard is unfortunately a good enough value, played 4,800 today. Okongwu, 47% compared to the field's 21, so more than 2x the field on Okongwu. Same thing for Lonzo Ball, more than 2x the field on him, 40% compared to 17% for the field. Montes Buzelis, 2x the field for him as well, 37% compared to 16. And Andre Drummond, 37% compared to 21. So again, you're not going crazy in terms of the exposures. Nobody over 60%, but definitely big stands on some of the chalkiest plays on the slate. So Stokastic, loving the chalk. Highest leverage guys, Giannis, Okongwu, Lonzo Ball, Buzelis, Nembhard, Drummond, and Russell. So same group we've seen already, but in a different order. And your most negative leverage plays, the players that Stokastic would have you get the least of, our thumbnail boy, Julius Randle. They want you to get only 11% of Randle, Fields at 30. I think if Randle plays, he looks good, but certainly if Anthony Edwards does anything good, it probably does hurt Randle. If Naz Reid plays well, it does hurt Randle. So it's a big stand against Randle. Donovan Mitchell, I'm low on as well. They're taking him negative 12% leverage, so barely playing Donovan Mitchell. Playing Darius Garland, less than half the field. Playing Paul George, only 2% compared to the field's 11 and change. Josh Hart, 3% compared to the field's 10. Quentin Grimes, who I always like, as you know, 3% compared to the field's 9. And Naz Reid, 2% compared to the field's 9. So they're not playing Randle or Naz. They're playing Anthony Edwards. Not playing Anthony Edwards either. So just fading Minnesota versus Philly. Philly plays slow, but Philly is an awful team. So that's a pretty big stand here against Minnesota. Are they taking any money? No, you can't just look up Minnesota. Not playing any McDaniels. Not playing any Conley. Not playing any Naz Reid. Yeah, Stokastic is not like Minnesota today versus Philly. Huh. All right. Guys, I will give you my splash plays for the day in a moment, but one last run through everything. Please do subscribe down below, hit the like button. Again, I'm just one guy here doing an NBA channel, still doing an NFL channel, technically. I'm probably doing a stream tomorrow or Thursday for the NFL channel if you're missing the basketball streams on there, but please do show some love. Again, we're so close to 1,000 subs, and about 60% of people that watch this channel are not subscribed right now, so please help out here. It's like mom and pop stuff. Would you steal from a mom and pop shop? Unless you're Omar or you're Marlo from The Wire, no, you probably wouldn't do that. So hit the like button, subscribe, show some love here. Just get me to 1,000 so I can fucking feel like this channel's where it's supposed to be at the very least. And of course, our sponsors, Unabated, 20% off, link down below. You want to win more betting? Great way to do it with Unabated's data. They make it as simple as possible to get in there, use good data, get good results. And Stokastic, 15% off sims, data, projections, all that stuff. Choose one of these sites to get projections, or choose me, join down below. But choose one of them. It's like, again, choose your own adventure. Just choose one of the doorways. Stokastic, Unabated, or join down below for one of the tiers to get my data, including the stuff you see on screen here every day. Splash plays for the day. I think, unfortunately, Andrew Nembhard has to be one of them right now. I would say Okongwu, Jared Allen, Ty Jerome, I think, is one off the bench. Be careful about that ownership. Keep them around 25%, but maybe 33 if you want to get aggressive about it. I think Ty Jerome's a good play, but runs the risk of losing some minutes because he's not going to be a starter. Giannis is still a good play. I think he's got to be in at least a third of your lineups. You can get up to him being in half your lineups. Like, it comes down to what you want to do. Do you want to go after the most likely outcome, which is Giannis being the highest scorer on the slate, or do you want to try to get some Towns, try to get some whatever? The various pay-up options, Trae Young. That's really your choice in the slate. But I think the smartest move is to get more than the field of Giannis. Try to spread it out a little bit more. And Quentin Grimes, I think, looks good for the most part in any slate, especially if you get Paul George out. I think that's it. I think that's it for now. So I'm not on the deeper dive today. So this is my last entry in here. Of course, I'll be popping to the VIP Discord throughout the night with updates, of course, as things do move around as they're going to, guys. But make sure to gamble responsibly, especially for the NBA. Look, yesterday I gave away pretty much 80% of my money because I had 70% Jaren Jackson and 70% Tyrese Maxey. It sucks. And it really is important to keep a bankroll that you're comfortable with. The amount of money, I think, for NBA, if you're playing the right way, if you're willing to lose that entire bankroll in a given night and still know that you're good to go. So just be smart about it, because I know for me, frankly, like, I've been doing this for so many years. I've had the highest of highs. Like, I've won good money doing this. It still is really tilting to lose your guys to injury and shit you can't control, let alone just having a bad lineup and a guy misses every shot. But like, when guys get hurt, it's going to happen more and more this time of year, because some teams aren't playing for anything. Some teams are playing for everything. And then the guy's hurt and they don't want to like fuck it up and fuck up their run to the playoffs. So they pull the guy a little bit early. It's just one thing to keep in mind here. It's like, really, I would say be mindful of bankroll down this home stretch just for yourself. Even though it's always money time here. I always... Really, the most socially irresponsible thing I do is the responsible gambling thing. We talk seriously about bankroll management, and then here's my face on a dollar sign. Blah. But gamble responsibly, guys. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the show at Splash Play NBA. I'll be back tomorrow with more, no matter what happens, no matter who gets hurt in this one. So Monday to Friday at 4 p.m., I'll be here for you, talking about the stuff as earnestly as we can every day, doing the best we can every day. I'll see you guys again soon. Hopefully I won't be muted tomorrow. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Bye-bye.